And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you know what's funny? If this was 3 houses, looking at like that cell down there, that would have been the perfect time to use Ashes and Dust. Is out in the corner. Ashes and Dust would literally just body
Gambit would make this map an absolute joke.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Just blaze, everyone's just like, boom, dead.
Dead, no big surprise.
Yeah.
Gale, why is your whole squadron on fire?
It's like, why is your whole squadron on fire? Edelgard did it.
The Edelgard is to blame.
Yeah.
Also, Gale's AI
to blame.
makes no sense to me whatsoever. It never has and it never will. Because after you talk to him, sometimes he goes and leaves the map. Other times he and his squad just encircle Milady or Zeiss. Don't attack, and they just encircle them.
They're confused.
And they just follow
The days
them
are
everywhere.
confused.
And other times Gale will just randomly just like not attack you when you go by. It's incredibly weird. I think the remake should either make Gale that you have to go out of your way to recruit him in an obscene method, like a hidden recruit, or make him a better Camus. One of the two. Just because the way he is, I feel like he could be handled much. He could be handled much better. The best Camus in this game is Bruno. Changed my mind.
Yeah, I would like to point out that a lot of people fawn over Mustafa for how he was written in Awakening, and rightfully so. Mustafa's amazing, but Brunya essentially did it first.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. For a lot of people, Awakening was the first time they saw a character like that.
Exactly.
Again, they've done this plenty of times in Fire Emblem.
People.
Yeah, again, they've done it plenty of times in Fire Emblem. It's just for a lot of people, Mustafa was their first, entry to this. It's kind of the same way some people, I'm trying to think certain, oh god. I'm trying to think of an example.
That Awakening introduced casual mode when FE12.
Yeah, when FE12 did it. Well, that's also a case of non-localization.
Yeah, which is completely fair.
Yeah. It's the thing. It's like the FE community had not been exposed to that for a while, so obviously they wouldn't understand this thing. Which again, it's no fault of their own. It's just a case of hindsight being 2020.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. If there's any Fire Emblem game that I would want to be ported to the virtual console, because I don't think it should be remade for a long time, is FE12.
I think it deserves a localization.
They created one for the Switch just because it honestly deserves.
Yay!
After I played it, it's easily it's in my top 3 Fire Emblem.
That's what most people say is one of the best, and I think it deserves a localization because I think it's like Mother 3. At this point, there's a big enough demand for it.
But in Mother 3's case, I feel like that also that is a game that like they could just like, if they wanted to do remakes for Earthbound and Mother 3, they probably could, and they would sell really well because of how popular they are now.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's a bulky.
Damn.
And Roy's like, I'm coming, I'm on my way.
And then there's Roy, who has a single round of combat this entire map.
Yeah.
And that's just sitting in the
To
back.
be fair, if he did initiate in combat, he would probably die.
Roy, don't we kind of need your help? Nah, you can do it.
Again, this is why I'm so happy I gave Lena the Dan Seraph mode, because now she can actually take a couple of hits.
Roy, where are you? At the shoe store buying boots.
Yeah, it's like, Roy, where are you?
Getting a drink.
It's like, where are you right now? I'm buying clothes, but all there is soup. What do you mean there's only soup? What do you mean there's only soup?
Soup. That's only soup.
Go into the next aisle.
Alright, I'm moving down.
I was to be honest.
There's 4 soup.
There's like a Takumi and Leo one who's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
One of the most well-known ones is the Kogiest one, though.
Well, yeah, that's where it originated.
That's where
Yeah.
it came from.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, man.
Come on!
Oh, come on.
Oh, don't worry, it's all
What
good.
is it with this map
There it
and
is.
missing
Never
like
mind.
80-ish%? What the
Oh,
heck? That's ridiculous.
Chris, you want to talk about... Alright, because basically, the reason this episode took so long to get uploaded is because of lockdown east in the UK, I was able to see my family again after like 3 months of being alone. So I was down there and I was playing Fire Emblem Conquest. Even though, like, the run I'm doing a run where I'm either reclassing a lot of units into different classes or using promotion paths I don't usually give them, like, for example, Paladin Perry and Dark Knight Knits. The RNG has been fucking atrocious. Like, I have missed so many 89s and 94s, it's not even funny.
I'm going to give a shout out to Conquest for really showing off how useful the capture mechanic was, because there's a couple capture units who are legit.
I expect Guy's hack is meant to be really good.
I would legitimately put them into like B tier. There's a couple of them. The
Hi,
Haitaka,
Rallyman, how you doing?
Rallyman's the best one for late game. Especially
Oh,
you don't need him on. He's not as good on hard mode, but on Lunatic when he literally just buffs every single offensive stat. Rallyman is incredible because it's like, do you want your Camilla to double more things?
But she already doubles everything. Yeah, but she can double more. I don't
It's
know.
also essential for doing the rescue skip one round KO on Takumi, just because you do not want to play that map straight.
Is that endgame
Endgame.
Takumi? Oh yeah, I was gonna say
Endgame.
yeah, because you fight Takumi 4 times in that game.
Oh my gosh, Conquest
My
Endgame.
God.
I know.
He's like the Ridley of Fire
Yeah.
Emblem.
It's a case of if you don't low turn endgame, you are in for a world of hurt because that map's
Yeah.
Yeah, it is literally the biggest sour note. And, oh honey.
Oh,
God, I
the
wish-
poor little thing.
I wish FE4 had AI that would SD just because of the fact that it would make Forcetti and other weapons so much better. 0 hit and they would still attack you. It would just make a lot of moments easier.
that was a close one.
That was indeed a close. That was that one I somehow missed.
Oh,
Fuck and you.
of course she likes awaken.
Ew.
No, just again, my team doesn't like RNG bullshit, and finally it's thinning out. I say that, but then there's gonna it's thinning out. Then why do we have another 20 minutes left? Oh, you'll see.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, but as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the strategy I employed was I made a giant blockade just to take and have the main things just to tank, and then obviously people hit from the back like artillery. That was the strategy I used, and then obviously I had Percival, Milady, and Zeiss tank the right flank with all the women's to come in because they can take the hits.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah,
what I'm saying is you kept the supported units together, and that's what really made this map.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whilst Roy's just sitting there like, I'm right here, guys.
Yeah. Don't.
Also shout out to. But this map really showcases how killer weapons can really come in handy if you aren't, because you don't have enough legendary weapons for everyone if you are going to break them out. I know one of the I think the solution to this map in Zero Gross is Armad's Percival for a lot of people. Just because in Zero Gross Percival is kind of like the king.
Oh, we would be.
Though Milady insta promoted makes her number 2.
Yeah,
He's
but
pretty good.
but Percival's just bases, regardless of mode, are fucking ridiculous.
If I were to rank Binding Blade as a hard mode, outside of early game in Sakai, it's real. I like the rest of it so much more because it's a lot of fun that I actually prefer playing in hard mode, even though I have to sit through Chapter 4 and Chapter 7 every time.
Yeah, well, again, I've said this before. Binding Blade hard mode during Western Isles, and before Sakai. All right, so if you take out chapters 1 to 7 and Sakeiru, it's actually it is a really fun hard mode because it actually does feel balanced. It's challenging, but it doesn't feel overbearing. It does make you appreciate other units and be more aggressive. But I'm sorry, Sakai mode and those first 7 chapters are so bad. I can't do it again.
Yeah. If you're ever playing,
Mark.
don't play in hard mode. That is the best advice I can give you, and that's not something you can always live up to. The best, I'll be honest, 20x of Sakai is my most hated map in all Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah, I totally understand that.
I never thought a map could surpass the Fox level in Conquest for me in that regard.
Yeah.
Because that map in Lunatic is BS.
That's the thing. I swear again, it's one of those weird situations where I know the map is horrible, but I've never had a bad thing, and I know why I've never had a problem with it. Because again, like I said, I run knights often, so Effie and Benny by that point, they're generals, and they usually have Wary Fighter, so I just slap them with a Beast Killer, pair them up, done.
Yeah. If you don't use either of them, what you can do is also capture the Chapter 18 General boss and just have him do the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's basically how to handle that map, just General.
Yeah, it's the one, again, Fates is the one time Knight's actually useful.
Yeah.
On Luna, when I played Conquest, what I actually did was interesting. I made Xander a Wyvern Lord just for that map. He has D lances, so he gave him the and the Great Massacre of Xander.
Yeah, again, if you've got, again, the map isn't too, again, it's poorly designed, don't get me wrong, But as long as you don't lose mounted classes, you'll be alright. The only mounted is in, you know, horse or Pegasus or Keaton. The only problem is a good chunk of Norian units are mounted. Bone Knights are mounted. You know, if Selena become a Falcon Knight, she's mounted. Xander, Leo, Nyx can become mounted. Yeah. Even Effie can technically become mounted. And, you know,
Wow.
What I usually do is reclass Xander to hero because he gets soul out of it, so it's not a bad move to begin with.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing with that's the thing with fates and reclassing. Specifically for Xander, Takumi, Leo, and Ryoma, you really want to keep them as a class in which they have their thing weapon. Like, don't reclass Ryoma into a class where you can't use Reginto because you can't just shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why in the case of late game Ryoma, I like the fact that you can make him a master of arms, so you can get life and death on him. Because at least in Lunatic, his bulk is shaky enough as is that doesn't really matter. He has to dodge tank regardless.
Yeah.
Also,
another thing you can do to fix his bulk is make him a paladin.
Yeah, I've seen Paladin Ryoma used quite a few times, and he is actually pretty damn good. I'm currently running Malignite Leo, and I like him.
Ooh, I've never tried that.
Damn.
I mean,
I've
you've got the
disadvantage.
you have the disadvantage of the E rank axes, but for me, because again, I think the growth rates do change based on the class you have, and for me, he's just leveling up a bit better, and he's flying with Brunhilde, so you know.
If there's one, basically, my opinion on Conquest is that what?
Whoa!
Fuck yeah!
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
Now that's a rescue staff. Also, Air Caliber away!
Yep.
Also, honestly, Conquest I think has the best early game in the series.
I'd agree. That was Sacred Stones for me.
Well, it also has difficulty. Like,
Definitely.
And that's the reason why.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that more comes down to the fact that a lot of early games suck, unfortunately.
True. I mean, no offense, but Binding Blade is one of the worst when it comes to early game.
Yeah, Binding Blade and Three Houses is bad.
Especially on hard mode.
Yeah.
Half of Part 1 fits that bill. The other half of Part 1 of Radiant Dawn is good maps. It's interesting. Part 1 of Radiant Dawn is such an enigma.
Honestly, if you want to consider FE4 Gen 1, like the first couple maps as early game, that's probably not one of the worst ones.
Yeah, well, FE4 for me, like, Chapter 1 and the prologue are good, I think, and honestly, I think Chapter 5 FE4 is one of the best farming maps ever. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm one of the people...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, like, I'm one of the few people out there who prefers Birthright to Conquest, but early game Birthright having a desert map is so annoying, and I hate playing through Birthright sometimes because it's like, I just started the new game, desert map!
Yeah, Birthright early game for me is really kind of boring, but you were saying, Chris, about you being one of the few... No, there's a lot of people out there that prefer Birthright. Granted, it's not what it used to be, where Conquest was like the most hated pathway, but there's a lot of people out there that prefer Birthright mainly for the narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't need these.
I've always liked the hosted characters better, so that's the main reason why for me, but...
I'm more of a Norian person. I mean, I like the Hoshidans, but honestly, God, with when it comes to Thing, it's more so I only like the female Hoshidans. I don't really think much of the guys, aside from maybe like Ryoma and Kaze.
Yeah, I definitely see. I definitely get that.
I mean, I love the women. I love Kagero. I think Setsun's funny. Orochi is so cool. I like Oboro, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But hey, as boring as some of the Hoshiden guys can get, at least their personalities aren't just pickles.
Yeah, that's a Hoshiden.
I can't believe we have that bar to set.
Yeah, but he is Hoshiden.
Yeah, but I mean, not out of the first generation at the very least.
Again, I don't know if this was actually like in the Japanese it was this bad too, or whether it was just localization again. Yep, here comes Gale.
I'd like to think it was localization.
Yeah.
There he is.
Okay, it also really obnoxious early games. After playing Rev on Lunatic, Rev's early game is easily the worst in Fate. It is one of the worst ones, just because. You guys remember the Ninja Pit level?
Yeah.
The one in the.
Oh God!
Don't you get Reina in that level though?
You do, but you have to survive long enough to get to them.
Oh right, yeah.
The opening couple turns is just as an RNG best. Paladin Jacob saved my ass on that level, straight up.
There's also the Wind Tribe map, which honestly in Conquest a lot of people hate it, but in Rev it's worse because at least in Conquest it's at the end where you have a lot of units to help out. In Rev you have like 5 units.
Well, to be fair, I think in Conquest people don't like it because again, Conquest is just harder as a whole. So having that gimmick, a lot of people don't know how to handle it. Because again, I didn't have a problem because I know how to play and use the wind effectively. But there was a lot of players. Remember, you got to remember that a lot of FE players that play Conquest the first time, or a lot of them were newbies.
Mm-hmm.
So again, for them, it's like
one of those newbies.
There's nothing wrong with being a newbie. Again, it happens to all of us. But again, this is actually something I noticed with Ashen Wolves because Ashen Wolves, in terms of gameplay, feels a lot like Conquest. It's very limited. It's quite enemy heavy, and it's like you have to be more aggressive. And a lot of players like who play 3 hours for the first time, they really couldn't handle Ashen Wolves. But I'm there. It's like this is literally just Conquest.
With one key difference, Ashen Wolf
Terrible
loves its route maps.
Loves its route maps and shit map aside.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. It's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. Conquest. Damn. Again, we're talking more about Conquest than we are actually this game. But yeah.
That's true. The main thing with Conquest late game is the reason why I can forgive half of it is because half of it you can flash skip on Lunatic. In this run, I made it a goal to try to play all the maps straight, so not just using Camilla and Corin dual pair up the flash skip. All the flash skippable maps. When I did it, chapter 24 was the worst one.
Oh, chapter 24 is like ridiculous if you don't flash skip.
Chapter 24?
That's the one where you fight Hinoka.
That's Hinoka's map.
Oh,
Okay, I have a horror story about chapter 24. It's not mine, it's from one of my friends, but he was playing Conquest on Lunatic and he used Darkfire Ophelia, but like she was so good that she basically wasn't getting hit by anything, and there was a Kinshi Knight that had a 5% chance to hit her with a bow.
Go ahead.
Guess what the Kinshi Knight did?
Oh,
Got hit.
God.
She died in a single hit.
She would do. Oh, I hate
Terrifying.
yeah. Again, 7% Ryoma, 7% Tomahawk.
I will say I used Ophelia in one of my Conquest runs as well, and I got a new appreciation for her because she's basically like as a Dark Knight, she's a slightly worse Leo. But
there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, the slightly worse Leo is not a bad thing. It's like what do you call it? It's like actually like one of the most slept on Conquest units is Gunter because Conquest Gunter is actually really pretty damn good.
Yeah.
God.
The guy has 20 defense.
Gunter could get, like,
burial.
I just wish that he could get like support bonuses in Revelation because like he really falls off hard because he can't, like he doesn't get any avoid hit bonuses from support conversations in Revelation.
I think they analyze the furthest he can go is chapter 12, and then after that he just falls off.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Gunter is he always has supporting with Corrin.
Yeah. He's one of the best pair-up bots.
Pairing up for Corrin. That's what I meant.
Trying to make him stand on his own is just freaking impossible whenever you hit late game though. Like. Ugh.
Yeah, but again, one of the we actually brought this up at the beginning of the thing. Like, so one of the biggest issues a farming unit can have, which isn't really their fault, was just not being another unit. Like again, we said with Deke and Ogia. Ogia's perfectly fine. He's just not Deke. It's the same way Fur is perfectly fine. She ain't Rutka. Zeiss is perfectly fine. He ain't Milady.
I think Gunter is one of the most interesting Jagans made because he shows how a Jagan can stay relevant even when they're not in combat.
Yeah, well, it's again through support, but support.
Yeah.
Because that happens to a lot of units where they're perfectly fine. They're just not this particular unit, so people absolutely forget about them. I'm trying to think of another example.
Fur.
Oh yeah, I said Fur.
Baruka's main crime is that she
yeah,
vanilla.
Baruka is probably the prime example. Baruka is actually one of the better Conquest units. She starts as a Wyvern, but you're not Camilla.
And then Tsubaki isn't Hinoka, but Tsubaki's admittedly not that great, but still Tsubaki has the crime of not being Hinoka.
Yeah, it's the same way Setsuna's crime, not Takumi.
Exactly.
Hana and Hayato, you're not Ryoma. Perry, Silas, and Gunter, you're not Xander.
I'm just glad that Hinoka's good in Birthright, because in Rev, she's bad.
She is, yeah, well, I swear to God, I can't remember if this thing, but I swear in Birthright she's actually better than Ryoma.
Yeah,
I think she's S tier.
It's like A tier or something. She's like A or S tier. She's really good in Birthright.
Maybe A
I
tier,
would say
but it's
A
just
tier. I think Corrin and Ryoma and probably Scarlet are the only S
Yeah, Scarlet. Oh my God, people don't use Scarlet that much, but oh my God, she's so good.
Scarlet's basically Camilla.
Basically,
Like a
minus the
Camilla.
magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
The main issue with Scarlet that makes Camilla better is not just Camilla's a male, but it's also the fact that Scarlet can only support with Corrin, which sucks. If Scarlet could support with Ryoma, those two would be the most broken duo, because they literally cover each other's weaknesses. You could just swap one or the other, depending on the situation, because she could just fly Ryoma in, Ryoma goes in, and they need bulk.
Yeah, exactly.
Now she has +7, +8 speed for Ryoma, you know? And when Ryoma's fort, Ryoma gets +6 attack. It's so good.
Amen. That would have been the case.
Scarlet is very impressive for managing to hold her own with only one support conversation in a game like Fates. Like, wow.
Yeah, well,
she only has one support conversation because if she had any more, then she would break the game in half. She would become the new Har.
Wait, is that why he had to kill her off in Revelations?
Yep, she's too good.
It's just a shame.
That's honestly like Scarlet's easily one of the most misutilized characters, because not only does she only support Corrin, but they kill her off for the dumbest of reasons in Rev.
Shock value.
Her dying in Conquest made sense.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's.
But in Revelation, it was just pure shock value.
In Rev,
stupid.
it was basically just a plot point. That's it.
It's like it's there. It was meant to add some emotional weight, but it's just like, why? Nothing is.
I feel like it was definitely done along with what happened with Izana to like add emotional weight to the story.
Izana dying was just like this is so pointless.
I have
for either one of them to die.
I have a theory.
The writers couldn't come up with an emotional story on their own.
I have a theory for that, actually. Also, this is an example of Gale's squad doing random things right there. My theory for Izana is when you look through, if you count the ghosts in Rev dying, the same amount of NPCs die in all 3 routes, and that's what they wanted to do. However, they made it incredibly contrived because they wanted to do that, but that's the reason why Izana died, because they were like, oh shit, we need to have 8 people die. Who are we gonna kill off? Izana. But it's okay, because instead of Izana, you get Fuga. Fuga is amazing.
Yeah, if you actually seen his bases, holy shit, man.
His bases are so strong, he's actually, the fact that he can only support Corrin is a good thing, and like Hayato is a good thing, because otherwise he would just be, like, better than Ryoma.
Yeah.
A standard Rev team for late game is Royal Spam and Fuga.
Yeah, well, Royal Spam is more so not the case of the Royals just being good, but also how Dragon Vein heavy the whole game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Talking about Fuga, thank God.
Yeah.
And also, like, there are so many
hear that crit,
non-royal
it cracks
units
the
in
fuck up.
Revelation that just get completely screwed over. Like, look at Niles, Odin, Laszlo, and Perry.
It's the Conquest units that it's the Norin units that get fucked over the most. Because honest to God, they actually did something I did notice is that some of the literally Hayato is better in Revelations. You got a buff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a immense
Very
buff.
much so.
Yeah.
It's a clear case of like Odin joins in the same map as Xander. Like, come on.
Yeah, and they're still in their base class form. It's like, guys, come on.
Another really.
Maybe they're in their base class forms, but a little higher.
Yeah, but they're still in their base class form. It's just like, and their bases are slightly higher. It's like, yeah, but Xander and Leo are literally in the same chapter.
I think that Nyx's bases are like exactly the same as her Conquest bases whenever she joins like a solid handful of chapters.
I was about to mention Nyx because she joins the same map as Shura and Rev, and Shura's bases are really good, and then you have Nyx who's like in her Conquest form.
Yeah, it's like, bruh.
Yeah, like her exact same bases as Conquest
Also
at that
Rip
point
Gale.
in the game. Like,
Yeah, see you later, Gale.
F in the chat.
Yeah, Gale has the generic enemy meme playing. That is
Disrespectful.
not in my opinion.
And that's part of the reason why I say Gale needs to be fixed. He needs the Wyvern General theme.
Yeah,
That is one of the, that is a hill I'll die on. He's literally a Wyvern General.
Yeah, he did become one.
And because that's also like one of the best boss scenes in the series, in my opinion. So
Also, can we just acknowledge? Can we acknowledge this Wyvern Rider has 50 HP? Rider.
And the Horse Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, the Wyverns at the end are obscenely bulky.
FE6 does enemy scaling really well.
Thank God I have magic.
Yeah, I actually really like it when a game actually goes out of their way to enemy scale. Again, because Fates does that too, and I really like enemy scale. Because it doesn't feel like you're ever overpowered or underpowered.
Yeah, albeit the game that does enemy scaling the best, and the reason why you're probably, even on like normal mode or hard one, FE12's enemy scaling is actually really good,
it's to the point where later on, because you say you like how everything's at equal footing. Later on in FP12, it kind of turns into, at least on Hard 4, it's you're outmatched and you have to overcome a very powerful foe. So it makes it fun in that regard.
Yeah, well, again, I've got no problem with feeling outmatched.
That's definitely challenging.
Yeah, because
I would like to point out this Manichee's so powerful. He two shots Percival.
Oh my god.
yeah. Well, again, Monarchies are powerful in this game, but there's just ways around them. Again, A, legendary weapons, or B, magic. Because again, for some reason, they don't have 1 to 2 range, which I found a bit odd.
Yeah, Manichees are... My thing with Manichees is, in the remake, it would be cool if they gave them a promoted class. So basically,
Like
the ones you fight early on are 1 range,
Yeah.
and then they turn into War Dragons.
Yeah.
And that's what you fight late, because with 1-2 range. So that way, Chapter 24 is they can make that like late game FE12 where the dragons are obscenely threatening.
Oh yeah, because they're dragons.
Which would be fun.
Also, make John a better boss, because I actually like John and his role in the story, and he goes down like in 2 seconds.
Well, so no,
Yeah,
Eden,
he really
Eden,
does.
make
He goes
Eden a better
down like a
boss for the
little
love of
bitch.
fuck. Frank. Oh yeah, 24 strength.
Yes,
Right.
Idun and John.
If there's the other unit I would like to get buffed in the remake is actually boss-wise is Murdock. Murdock's stats are amazing, but it would be interesting if they gave him Bascalos or Rex Hosta, 2 of the S-rank weapons from FE7, as his weapon
Yeah,
that
because he's only
he
got a
has.
tomahawk, which is a fine weapon, but you know, still. Narcia had a damn rune sword.
Oh boy, Tate
Oh,
is
no.
not having a good time.
No, well again, she's still alive though.
Oh, thank God.
Now again, nobody dies. Nobody dies.
It would
No,
really suck
actually-
to come this far and then die.
Yeah. Hey,
like that. That
Chris, how do you think the
terrible.
Japanese players felt? They don't have save states.
I mean, it can be done. When Jay and I drafted outside of, we didn't use save states outside of when I was in Sakai route because
Fuck
I
that.
ended up going Sakai accidentally because I didn't recruit Zealot, and I didn't realize Zealot had to be alive to get Maltet. So halfway through, I realized, oh shit, I have to go to Sakai.
I see.
All I'm gonna say is, with the draft team, so I only had half the good units. So I didn't have Percival. So guess what I beat that? Selfie Shield Milady and hold on for dear life.
Yeah, just
I-
I
pray.
really just threw in the...
I had Percival, Ruker, and Shin. So he had to beat Sakai without those units.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have Zeiss either. Thankfully, I had Armad Deke. I had obscenely blessed Deke that run.
At least there's that.
Yeah, very
Gosh,
true. Again, Gonzalez with 26.
Okay, so fun fact about this game is that even if so there are 2 things that you can do whenever you play this game. First off is emulating it. This is a smart option. Or you could do what I did and go onto Etsy where people have like hacked the game into like an empty GBA cartridge. So you can like put it on, you can like just plug it into a
Game
GBA
Boy.
and it'll work. Yeah, it'll just work like that. I did the second option, beat this game without save states whenever I was going through it the first time, and that's
Chris, yeah, see, Chris is a true champion. She's hardcore.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna one.
God, I hated this chapter the first time through without save states because there was just so many enemies, so much RNG bullshit.
Yeah.
Can't turn back the clock or anything. Just
To be fair,
Yeah.
it's annoying when I go back to
You can't
Conquest and I
divine
can't
pulse
divine
it.
pulse.
Okay, I'm gonna one up you right there, Chris.
Oh, that's my dog.
Chris, I'm gonna one up you. The first time I played FE4, I did not know turn saves were a thing. So I went through like
Oh, God.
all of
Wow.
Gen 1 without
Ooh,
saving.
no,
I had to reset
no.
the entire
Do you know what?
thing.
I'm gonna do you both one better. First time I played Radiant Dawn, I didn't know battle save was a thing. Do you know how many times I had to restart Elincia's Gambit?
God, I discovered battle saves for the first time in the middle of Alencia's Gambit the first time through, and it was basically just, okay, I died. Go back to turn 6 before everything went to shit. Back to turn 6.
I need to go on.
Back it up. Back
I need
it up.
to
back
go
it
on a
up.
30. I need to go on a 30-second Radiant Dawn rant for a second. But if you want to talk about difficulty modes being stupid, Radiant Dawn hard mode, it buffs enemy stats, which is fun. It makes cast relevant in the tower, which is great. Downside, it gets rid of battle saves. You can't check enemy ranges for some godforsaken reason. And they get rid of the weapon triangle, which just serves to make axes even more broken.
And in the Japanese one, you can only promote with a Master Crest.
Japanese Radiant Dawn is a scary game.
Let's just
That
say
game scares me.
let's just say there's a good reason why the Japanese hate Tellius. Because remember, Maniac Mode Path of Radiance is Japanese exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also that. Okay, and can I just say that another thing, like, about hard mode Radiant Dawn? I've never played Radiant Dawn on hard mode, but I do know that especially the early game chapters with the Dawn Brigade, it basically comes down to, is everybody in good biorhythm? No. Reset. You're gonna die.
And then you have the.
I like it also, Lillian just walks in, it's like, surprise, motherfucker!
Yeah. Then you have the final fight of Radiant Dawn, where it's like, is Ike on good biorhythm? No? Well, fuck you! Yeah.
I'll be honest, having Ike support with getting like a B support with Mia can actually really help there because she buffs hit, I found. Which is necessary because on hard mode, Ike has like 70 hit at base with that biorhythm. So having on Ashira, because Ashira is just so dodgy because she has cat luck.
Oh god.
Bosses I want to see buffed.
I only think I've ever seen one unit in my run of any farming game cap luck, and that was Micaiah. And that was 40, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
It was that moment that the enemies knew they fucked up.
Oh yes, definitely. I can't remember who takes down what's his face.
Murdock.
Yeah. Oh, I do think though. I remember because I have boots. I think I gave them to Ogier and Fur so they can also keep up with the rest of the mounted units like Wendy is. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure.
Did you have Shauna by physics? Because I know there's still physics there. That's really good.
I think she did. Yeah. And so obviously he's talking to Yoda and stuff like that, and Yoda's starting to catch on to his shit. You slime motherfucker.
It's funny because Yoda is like a fine filler unit, but Nimi is just better in every way.
Oh yeah, Nimi is fantastic. Nimi is the best magic user in this game.
And then you have Saul, who's basically Sane if Sane was a priest.
Yeah. Just use the hammerine because again, there's wyverns in chapter 23. There's a lot of them. You thought you were done with wyverns? Good fucking luck. Oh yeah, I also went this route because Nami actually got when I think she got a level up in speed.
Is it bad that I admit that Yoda reminds me of Star Wars? Honestly.
Yoda.
Yeah. That's kind of the joke. So yeah, we just get the conversation.
Hearing Saga actually has a unit named Yoda.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, Roy.
Fuck you, just because.
Wow.
Like, Roy's like, I'm gonna fight the bad guy.
I got a weapon level increase, everybody. I got a weapon level increase.
I think the turn limit for this is 30.
It's 30.
It's very fair.
Bang!
Whenever we started, it's 30.
Wow.
And at 200 non-killer crits, we take him down.
That is 0. Yes, Murdock. Never change.
Get fucked.
I like how Roy let off this crit montage, and Fur's like, let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, this is how you do it.
I will say from a stat perspective, Murdock is in a very imposing boss.
Yeah, he's got 72 HP. Jesus Christ.
It would be interesting if he had. It would be interesting if he had the Iron Rune in the remake, so that way you couldn't rely on critting him.
So
and then he dropped it because you know how they started that trend in GBA after.
Yeah, because Kaliak had the Iron Rune. Okay, so we're done, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. Chapter 21 is over.
An hour.
Yeah. Thank you very much to my co-commentators for joining me. It was a wonderful time, and I'm really, really happy that you decided to join in.
It was lots of fun.
I'm very glad to be here. Also, this is one of the few instances of Merlin is not photobombing a scene.
Yeah, thank God. Alright, so next time we're here, we've actually got to get one more tome in one of the gimmickiest and most forgettable chapters in the game, and then after that, Wendy wants her seat back, and Seville, you better start fucking running. Until then, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you later, and have a wonderful day.